Hello there.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam alaikum. So I take
I
it
don't
you're
know
a
what you're
Muslim
saying.
now?
I don't know what that means.
It
Can you
means
tell me what that
peace.
means?
Yes, it means peace of Christ be with you.
Well, my question to you is, do Jesus Christ got X-ray vision? Because he's not God.
Those two statements did not relate to one another.
It do. He's God. He's supposed to have. He can
Well,
see through. He can see what you wearing, your underclothes. So he's God, right? He can't do that.
well,
So he's not
well,
God.
well,
He don't
Jesus
have X-ray
does.
vision.
Well,
He don't have X-ray vision.
ma'am,
Yes. Yes.
if Jesus is God, then Jesus is omniscient.
He's
Then
the
that
anointed
means
one. How can you have the
that
human
God knows
title
it.
for a God position? He's
Hold
the
on,
anointed one, the Messiah.
ma'am.
Yes, he's
We
the.
would like to,
Isn't he the anointed one?
ma'am, are you
Is he the
okay?
anointed one?
Ma'am, are you okay?
Is he the anointed one? Can you answer my question, please?
Can you answer my question?
What's your question?
Because are you okay? Because we were trying to
Isn't he the
focus on
Messiah?
answering your
Is
ma'am,
Jesus Christ the Messiah?
ma'am.
Is Jesus Christ the Messiah?
I'm trying to have a conversation here.
Why you can't answer my question?
I'm trying
Is he
to,
the
but you're still
Messiah?
talking over me,
Is
ma'am.
Jesus Christ?
I'm gonna have to mute you here. I want to have a good conversation with you, ma'am, but we're gonna have to go from one point to the other. I know this is a bad thing to ask a woman, but you gotta calm down. You gotta calm down.
Yes, sir. I'm
Now,
calm.
thank you. So, to answer your first question, Jesus is omniscient. He already knows everything. And
That's a lie. You
the
wanna know
disciples
how
even
that's a
pointed
lie?
that, oh, ma'am,
Why you yelling at me?
do you want to have a conversation or do you
Why
just want
you
to
yelling
interrupt
at
me?
me? Why you yelling at me?
Ma'am,
I'm not yelling at you. Why you yelling at me?
you are though,
I'm not though.
because you are.
I'm
And
not.
number two, if you continue to interrupt me, I'm gonna have to drop you and we can have a conversation with somebody else. Do you understand me? That's what I thought. Now, to answer your question, Jesus is omniscient. He knows all things. And the disciples exclaimed that he knew all things. In John chapter 16, the disciples said, "You don't need to tell us anything else. You told us plainly. Now we know that you know all things." And Peter in John chapter 20 says to Jesus, "Lord, you know all things." So, according to the disciples, Jesus does
Ask your
know all
question, please.
things. So, who are we to trust, ma'am? Are we to trust
Can I ask
you
you a question? Can I
or
ask
the
you a question,
followers?
please?
I want you to answer my question first, ma'am, because I'm answering yours.
Okay.
So, who are we to trust? You or the disciples of Jesus?
Me?
So, what gives
Would
you
you
the
live in that?
authority? So, what gives you the authority to contradict the disciples of Jesus who knew him, who walked with him, and talked with him,
You're
and said
lying,
to
bruh.
Jesus' own face
Bruh,
that
you're
Jesus
lying.
knew
You're
all
lying,
things?
bruh. Your Lord is not born or begotten. He came out of Mary's womb. Virgin Mary. He came out of her womb. Your Lord is not born or begotten. Bruh, use a whole sperm cell. You're nothing but a sperm cell. Allah created you. You can't hide from that. You're nothing but a sperm
So,
cell.
are
We
you
all
able
are
to
sperm
actually?
cells out here. We
So,
all came from a mom and dad.
Are you able to answer my
Yes,
question,
I
ma'am?
can. Yes, I can.
So if
Yes,
I'm a
I can,
liar,
sir. Yes, I
so if I'm
can.
a
Bruh,
cool,
Jesus was born out of Mother Mary. Mother
answer my.
Mary is a virgin.
Okay,
Mother,
stop yelling. Stop yelling, stop manifesting. You said you could prove me wrong.
I believe in Jesus, peace be
Now
upon him.
answer my.
I believe in
Hold on. I know what you
I
believe.
believe in Jesus, peace be upon him. I
I'm
believe in
asking
him.
you a
But he
question. I'm asking you a question, ma'am. This is the third time. You interrupt me again, and you're gone. Do you understand me?
here because you run away from truth. Bye. You run.
Go on then. Bye.
A few moments later.
All right. I'm not here to make fun or
make jabs or anything like that. I've spoken to all three of these gentlemen before. How's everyone doing?
I'm doing
All
pretty good.
right, blessed and highly favored of the Lord. Would you like to deal with the topic that we have on screen here, Jules?
Jesus was crucified, changed my mind, Muslims request only. So I don't know if I could change your mind because I think your mind's already made up.
You could try.
I mean, I'll do my best. I mean, I can't change your mind. The only thing I can do is just kind of
Julius,
reiterate the Muslim position.
why
So,
don't you look at
so,
it?
what's the proof that you have
Yep.
for the Islamic position?
The proof that I have is one that you will not like, you will not accept. It is that we hear and we obey. If a law says something didn't happen, or if it did happen, we hear, we obey. That's it.
That's it.
Simple as that.
So,
Like, yeah,
so
I mean,
literally, so let me ask you this.
yes, sir.
In comparison to, for example, the evidence that we have, because you've been in our rooms, Jules, right?
We've
When we've
talked
talked
a
about this issue.
billion times.
Cool. So you know the evidence that we bring up. We bring up historical evidence. We bring up textual evidence. We bring up even archaeological evidence.
Sure.
So we have the mountain of evidence that tells us that Jesus was crucified. And on
Okay.
comparison to that, to the evidence that we have that Jesus was crucified, we have 40 Arabic words in the Quran, which basically just says, "Nuh-uh."
So I'm curious. I'm
Is
curious,
that
doctor.
is that what we're looking at here, or are we looking at some more evidence on the Quran side that supports its claim?
So I'm curious, doctor. Um, why do you think? Why do you think the Quran says that Jesus wasn't crucified?
Can you answer my question first?
I mean, it's all relative. It all relates.
Can you answer my question first?
So the best way I can answer your question is that now Muslims we say Jesus wasn't crucified. Well, we do believe there was a crucifixion.
That's not what I asked, though.
So
Do you remember the question that I asked you?
So you mentioned all of this evidence, and all I'm saying is that
And what was the question that I asked after pointing that out?
you
What was
mentioned
the question that I asked?
you mentioned basically you said like 40 something Arabic words versus all of this mountains of evidence. Am I correct in saying that?
And so what was the question that I asked after that? I don't know if you were speaking when I asked you the
Maybe I
question,
was
that you didn't
speaking.
hear it.
Maybe I was
So
speaking.
so the question was, what other evidence do you have that backs up the claims of the Quran that says that Jesus was not crucified?
Well, the only evidence I got as a Muslim is the Quran.
So there is no other evidence.
Well, I don't believe we need any more.
I didn't ask you if you needed any more. The question is not about what you need. The question is what you have.
That's all I got. All I can give you is the
Cool.
Quran on that in that
So
regard.
cool. So if we put the situation in a courtroom situation and the evidence is brought forth,
Okay.
and for the prosecuting side that Jesus was crucified, you have this mountain of evidence. But then on the defense team, you have one guy which has no physical connection to the events, and he can't even fully explain what happened. Who would we look for? Who would we look for? Who would we choose to be the deciding vote, or to who would win this court case, the prosecution or the defense?
Give me a second, bro. My little lady is awake. Give me 1 second. Based on your example, who would win? I mean, man, how can I say this?
Bro.
Come on, man.
So the reason, so this is not as like,
Jules,
so again,
you have the question in front of you.
the
You have
question
two
is
options.
all the evidence versus what the Quran says, right? In the courtroom,
No,
right?
no, sure, but I asked you a question. When we look at the case, who wins, the prosecution or the defense? You got to answer my question, bro.
So I'm gonna be real. You're not gonna like what I say. Uh, so just so I can follow,
Jules,
who's the prosecution? Who's the defense? Am I the defense? Oh, no, no.
Jules,
Come on, man.
I already laid it out to you, bro. You're not hard of hearing. I know as heck you ain't hard of hearing because you record every one of my videos or every one of my streams and Logic streams too.
When do I do this?
So
When do I do
can
this?
you? So can you? So I know you can hear clearly. You just can't answer clearly. So can you prove me wrong and answer the question clearly?
So
Who's going to win the court case? The prosecution or the defense? You got one more chance, Jules.
so wait a minute. So you're gonna kick me out?
You got one more chance, Jules. The
So
more you prove yourself to be dishonest,
no, no, no.
when you
I'm not.
know the question,
I tried
when
to
you know the
engage.
answer to the question,
Hold up, Black
if
Doctor.
you're
I tried
trying
to.
to engage, then
Here we go.
engage. Answer the
Look,
question.
I tried to engage in a way that you don't like that I engage.
Dishonest? Of course.
No,
I
no, no.
don't
I'm
like
not
dishonesty.
dishonest.
But, Jules, answer the question.
The
Who
Just
question
answer the
wins?
is,
question, bro.
Prosecution
Bro.
or defense?
this is the thing. The Quran is going to win.
Okay, we're not asking about the Quran, bro.
All right, I'm done.
Please don't be disingenuous,
I'm just,
man.
I'm just, bro.
Man,
I mean, come
idiots.
on, like, come on, man, come on, man.
See, Julius, what you could, and I'm not trying to laugh to be like cruel. I'm like for real,
I'm
bro. It's
laughing to be cruel, man.
What we
It's
doing
just-
here?
crazy, bro. See, okay, man. What you should have said was, in a courtroom situation, yes, the Christians would have won that case. However, I believe what I believe for X reasons or whatever.
He
But
could have said that.
But don't gaslight us, bro. Like that's crazy.
Come on, just a little bit of honesty with you guys. And he admits that he records all of our stuff. I know it because he makes videos misrepresenting our views, even though it's right in front of his face, and then tags us in it. I know exactly what he does. So, can any of you guys be honest?
There's a guy in the request box. I think Avarian Don, I think he said he's Muslim, so I don't know if you wanted to bring him up.
Sure. You're right, MJ. An honest Muslim is an ex-Muslim.
Hello.
What up, Don?
Yeah, what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
Cool. We alright. You a Muslim?
Yeah, I was I was born Muslim and I went to Catholic school a little bit, so I do understand both religion and things like that. So I just want to break it down for you a little bit.
Well, I would like you to answer the question, please.
Sure. Just to start saying it, yes, Jesus was not crucified. Let's put it logic this way, right? So I God stuff for law. God, like, just put this in logical terms and things like that. So God is God, but he sends himself or his son to come and save us, right?
What was the question?
You're arguing about
No. I'm
the
just
motive.
question,
Hold on, Don. Hold on, Don. The reason why I stopped you and James stopped you is because you're going off topic.
No, I'm
You're
not
going
off
to
topic.
hold on. Let me explain why. Let me
Why?
explain why. Because you're going to the why of the crucifixion,
No,
which
I'm not
is
going.
about hold on, which is about justification, the doctrine of the Trinity, things of that nature, and not the historical fact that Jesus was crucified.
But can I finish my point?
So do you have any actual proof that Jesus was not historically crucified? Because that's the question that we're asking.
I'm gonna be honest. The only proof that I have is the Quran, but you don't have any proof
Cool.
either that's saying that he was crucified either, though. Based on
Actually,
what
we
I'm-
do.
No, you don't.
Actually, we do. Would you like me to present that
Please,
evidence for
please,
you?
please go ahead.
Well,
Thank you.
let's just ask him, BD. Let's just ask him first. With the
Sure.
evidence that we give you, do you want it to be from the scholars of the Bible for itself, or do you want outside scholars? Because you're going to say to us,
Outside
if we bring
scholars,
you,
because the Bible is full of contradiction. I won't even lie.
okay, we're not going to talk about the contradiction of the Quran now either, but we're talking about the outside scholars. So if we are able to prove outside scholars confirm the crucifixion, will you accept them, or will you be like all other Muslims and start deflecting and crying about them?
I'm gonna deflect it still because God doesn't have a son. He doesn't have a son. It doesn't make any sense. Like, what are you talking about? God doesn't have a son. It says in the Old Testament that like
Oh
literally
my
is a
God, you see
sin to
that,
like
BB?
associate God with
Wait,
family.
whoa,
That's
whoa,
what
hold
you
on,
said
hold
to
on,
him.
Don. Hold on, Don.
Yeah.
Do you believe that the Old Testament is inspired of God?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you believe that the Old Testament is inspired of God?
Yeah, the Old Testament is literally highlighted like how God, who is God and how God is. It doesn't highlight how
Cool,
Jesus like
cool.
he's Jesus.
Go to. You said that the Old Testament says that God doesn't have a son. Go to Proverbs 30 real quick. We'll stop here, and then I'll give you the evidence because even though you'll deny the evidence, I'm still going to do it for the sake of the room. So go to Proverbs 30.
So I don't have it open with me right now. If you have it open, can you read it?
Sure, sure. So Proverbs 30. Verse 2 says, "Surely I am too stupid to be a man. I do not have the understanding of a man."
Yeah.
Verse 4, "Who has ascended into heaven and have come down? Who has gathered the wind in his fists? Who has wrapped up the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name?" Surely you know. So, Proverbs 30 talks about the one who gathers the wind in his fists, who has established the ends of the earth. Who is that, Don?
God himself.
Cool. So it then asks, what is his name? And then it says, what is his son's name? So Proverbs 30 tells us that God has a son.
Did God say that himself or did people say that? That's the question now.
Cool. Let's go to Psalm 2. Let's go to Psalm chapter 2. Do you have that? Do you have that in front of you, Don?
No, I'm sorry. I don't have the Bible open in front of me right now. So I wouldn't.
Sure. We'll go to Psalm 2 because Psalm 2 speaks about this. The Messiah is the one speaking. Verse 7, "I will tell of the decree. Yahweh said to me, you are my son."
I don't
So
remember.
God says that the Messiah is his son.
He never said that, but
But I thought the Old Testament says that God doesn't have a son, and you said you wanted to hear it straight from Yahweh. And so Yahweh says to the Messiah, "You are my son," in Psalm 2.
you know why it's kind of hard to not like. You know why it's like it's not believable. You know how many translation the Bible has
Whoa,
gone
whoa,
through.
whoa, 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 whoa.
BB.
Hold on, Don. You just said that the Old Testament doesn't say
Yeah.
that God doesn't have a son or that God has a son.
You know what?
We pointed out two passages, one from Proverbs and one from Psalms, that God does have a son. If you want, would you like us to look it up in the Hebrew as well?
Please.
Will
All
you
right.
believe it in the Hebrew, Ivorian?
Exactly. That's and all this is exposing that. That's what we're doing here. Psalm chapter 2 verse 7. We'll look at it in the Hebrew. So it says, "Esafara el hok, Yahweh amar ele bani ata." So he literally says, "I will declare the decree. Yahweh amar ele has said to me, Bani ata, you are my son, Bani."
Damn, B,
So
they
he
sound like
literally
you.
uses the term son.
Bani, that is referring to the children of Israel. Bani
No, it
al-Israel.
says ata, you, singular.
Bani
You,
definitely refers to the
singular,
children of
are
Israel.
my son. It's second masculine singular.
Ivorian, what languages do you speak? Do you speak Hebrew?
I don't speak Hebrew. I
Do you
speak
speak
French
Arabic?
in my native language.
Do you speak Arabic?
I don't speak Arabic, but I read it
So hang on. So
most.
you tried to make yourself smarter than you actually are by saying Bani Israel's talking about. You see, just because you know what one word means in your Quran, it doesn't mean you understand what it's actually saying. So sometimes just be quiet. Try not to sound sillier
And do
than
you
you actually
understand
are.
Hebrew yourself? I'm gonna need you to,
I do.
I'm gonna need you
I
to, because
do.
we was having a respectful
I
discussion. I need
do.
you to stop being rude
So
about
so
that, my
so
boy.
Don, so
The
Don,
young
so
man,
Don,
man.
so Don, talk with me. Talk with me.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
text
I can talk with
mainly
you.
said the
Exactly.
text
You seem a
plainly
little more
so
reasonable.
Don Habibi. The text plainly says, Yahweh said to me, you are my son. It's the same in English, it's the same in Hebrew, it's the same in Aramaic, it's the same in Arabic, it's the same thing.
If
God says
it's
he has a son. And
so, if
yet
that's the case, then if
you
that's the case,
hold on, Don, hold on, Don. Now, since we've seen it, both in the Old Testament in English and in Hebrew, do you retract your statement
I am
that
not
the
retracting my
Old
statement.
Testament denies?
It's
Hold
hard to
on.
argue with you.
That the Old Testament denies that God has a son. Whoa, who dropped him? Did he leave?
Of course, he's gonna run, man.
He left.
No, he didn't leave. He ran. He ran because what you've done was you exposed him as a liar because he, as I said, he came up. I used discernment right from the word go. He said no, he wouldn't believe it even if you proved it. It didn't matter to him. He's asked the questions with the intention of not believing you anyway.